Hey, Chris,
Yeah, Fred.
what's a Mason?
That's a really good question, Fred.
You've reached the internet's home for all things Masonry. Join Chris and I as we plumb the depths of our ancient craft. From the common gavel to the trowel, nothing is off the table. So grab your tools and let's get to work. This is On the Level. Well, here we are again. Chris, what are we doing today, the day before Grand Lodge?
Yeah, the day before Grand Lodge. I think we're going to talk more about the Master Mason degree.
Say it isn't so.
I think so. I think we are.
So you're saying it is so.
Make it so.
So
Number one.
Is this going to be number 10?
9.
9?
9 hours on the Master Mason.
9
degree.
hours on Master
Yeah.
Mason, and we have not scratched the surface.
Right? And then last night at our Master Mason Association in District 23, we did the District School of Instruction for Right Worshipful Doug Dobbs. At his last meeting, he asked us to do the education. So I think that was a first in our district. I've been going to those School of Instructions for like 5 years. And it's usually about, this is how you stand, this is how you walk.
Right. This is how
this
you
is
hold
the
staff.
words.
Yep.
But for the first time, we talked about the Master Mason degree. What does it mean, the ruffians? How does that relate to our
Right.
lives?
Yeah. So we focused in on the section in the mentor's manual on the Three Ruffians, and I learned something big time. I decided to do a little outline and go outside the manual.
Yeah.
And that was a disaster.
It wasn't a disaster, but
It was a disaster. Let's go ahead and say it.
taught us some valuable lessons.
Word of the day: disaster. It was
No.
disastrous. It was so not me. I quickly realized as I was reading from a pre-written script, which is something we don't do.
Right.
I quickly realized by the look on everyone's faces and my own the feeling that I had that this was a mistake. So we sat down in 2 chairs. We pulled out the mentor's manual, and Chris and I just did what we do here.
Yeah.
In front of an audience, and the crowd came alive, and people
Yeah.
started participating and sharing. So
Keep it simple, stupid, right?
keep it super simple.
Oh.
I don't ever add the
Sorry.
stupid.
Keep
Kiss.
it super
keep
simple,
it
stupid.
super simple. There's no stupid in it,
Kiss.
right? Because stupid is complicated. So that's really an oxymoron. Keep it simple. Keep it stupid.
Super simple.
Keep it stupid, you stupid, complicated weirdo. I've always done it the way Zig Ziglar, who originally came up with the idea. It's keep it super simple. KISS. Keep it super simple. It's not keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, that's how I learned it.
Because as soon as you call someone stupid, you complicate things. So it's not simple anymore. You just called me stupid. Well, I'm not stupid. You're stupid.
Yeah.
That's complicated.
You're stupid.
So if you keep it on a positive level,
Burn.
keep it super simple by sitting down, Chris and I, next to each other with the manual in our hands and reading from it, commenting on it based on our own life experiences and our knowledge of Freemasonry. The crowd came alive. Men began to share, and I thought it was a really great moment. It really, really turned
felt
out
good.
well. Yeah.
Felt good.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of instinctively knew when we were going through that it wasn't going to work for me.
I
For me,
totally agree.
For me, I didn't know how you felt in the moment, but
Totally
I was
with you.
You were like, Chris, take your turn on the script, and I was like,
no,
I don't think so.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna do something else.
No. What I was really saying is, Chris, bail me out. I'm dying.
Yeah,
here.
no, I know. I do it all the time when we're recording. I just look up at you like, talk, help me,
help.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
But it was a good learning experience, and
It was good.
It really
Yeah.
does reaffirm what you and I have learned since we've been doing this. Is there is a very unscripted formula here that you and I use, and it's really just based on what we want for all of our brothers out there to get from this show. Is that sitting down and talking brother to brother about the mentor's manual and the basic foundation of Freemasonry, what it means, what it can mean, what it does not mean, is really the crux of what we do.
Yeah. And, we got further confirmation of that. It was kind of just everything was happening last night. Magically.
It was a big night for
magically.
such a small little get-together. It was a big night.
Yeah. I mean, bragging on Sarasota Lodge, we took home the Broken Column, which is a little game we play in our district. The lodge that brings the most members to our Master Mason Association monthly meeting gets to have the Broken Column for the month. So that Broken Column is now sitting in my bedroom. I've convinced my wife that I have to have it for the rest of the year. She was looking at it this morning. She's so supportive. She was like, "So, how long is this going to be in our bedroom?" I was like, "Well, probably another 40 days." I'm like, "I'm kidding. I'm going to bring it to the lodge." She's like, "Oh my God, thank God. You do so many crazy things." I was like, "Please, no." But that night we, Sarasota Lodge is back, man. We're back.
Right?
We're finally representing again externally. I mean, we do a good job in our lodge. We have a solid lodge. I think our mission this year in our lodge that we spoke at our installation was we want to be the best version of ourselves as men and Masons that we can be this year, and try to be an example of what you can get done if you do it right. That's our mission. Sounds easy, but it's not.
It's not easy. No.
And
But
we've tried to live that.
Exactly. And I tell you, one of the things that I just thought of while you were saying that is Chaplain Joel at our last stated meeting stood up.
We're so lucky.
We're so lucky to have him. But he stood up at the last meeting, and I could tell, because I was sitting directly across from him, that he was waiting for the perfect moment to stand up and say what he said. And what he said was that he's having trouble with his hearing.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder and harder for him to perform his duties. So what he did is he said he wants to turn the chaplaincy over to somebody who's new at it and teach them and mentor them in the chaplaincy work until he's satisfied with their proficiency, and turn it over to them. And he would even be willing to pay that person's dues, the right person's dues, to get this done. This is Masonry, man. That's Masonic to the core.
I was looking out at the audience, and people were like, just
is this happening?
Loving it. They were just loving that moment. I was loving that moment because you know what you don't know about Brother Joel Furman? Brother Joel is from upstate, the Northeast. So he talks a lot about what he sees up there. Masonry is just different up there than it is down here.
Yeah.
And he loves it. But he loves it down here, too. He's very active in multiple lodges. He's competed at the state level 4 times, I think. Every single time he's been flawless as the chaplain.
Right.
He's memorized all the prayers. He embellishes them. He knows the Canadian charge, which he does for us at our Master Mason degrees. He's just a consummate professional because he has so much pride in his work. So he was supposed to be chaplain in our lodge a couple years ago. The person who became master had talked to him and made promises, and then changed his mind a couple weeks before installation and said, "Sorry, I got another guy," which didn't make Joel feel great.
Right. Wouldn't make anyone feel great.
And this happens, when you get a little situation like that, you just stop coming. So he didn't come to our lodge for a couple years. And then when I realized, crap, I'm actually going to be sitting in the East. I have to get Joel. There are certain pillars in your line that you just have to have strong people in. And the chaplain, is one where I didn't want some guy that's going to sit there and read cards, just read it. I needed somebody that's a ritualist there and that really cares, because Joel really cares about people.
He does absolutely care about people and about that position.
So much.
Yeah.
And he stood up at the meeting, and he had been telling me we really need to find a protege. This is somebody who cares about his work. He won't leave that station until he's got someone he's personally trained, verified that they're very proficient, and is going to leave it better than he found it. Masonry, 101.
101, baby. Yeah.
He's the man.
He is the man. And it's funny because we're going to really regret not having him there, but the person that sits there in his place is a living representation of him.
Yeah, he's passing that.
He's passing it on. He's creating a legacy to the next one. My hope and prayer is that whoever it is that he settles on is somebody who truly takes it in, like he has, with passion and excellence. An eye towards excellence. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So shout out to Chaplain Joel.
Yes.
We love you, brother.
Best chaplain in the world.
Yeah, we're 100% behind you. Whatever you need from us, you already have.
Like you said, he's been losing his hearing, and he's been studying sign language for the last 3 years, I think. So he taught me to sign the words when I speak to him. So if it gets to that point, I know sign language, and I can, Brother Chaplain lead us in prayer, which I think is awesome. But, Sarasota Lodge represented last night, and then we had the where I was going with that. We had a right worshipful Joe Flaties, who's running for Grand Junior Warden at Grand Lodge, showed up.
Yeah.
And he gave his speech, and a bit of his speech tied exactly into what we were doing that night, which was...
He was preaching our sermon in his presentation.
In the way that we were going to teach that night. He was literally saying, we need to do more of this, and if elected, he has a plan to make a official Grand Lodge program out of kind of more of a discussion model and thinking about the really, we say esoteric work, but how does it relate to our life, and what is the symbolism of all this? Because in Masonry we get mostly facts and where do you find this in the digest, which he's right about, or it's about leadership training and business, running a business and things like that. But the Grand Lodge doesn't put a whole lot out about the meaning behind the work that we do,
right,
and how to relate it to your life. There is some which you and I have been covering here for a whole year now,
right?
And this is all we have. And he's talking about really going into this. So our district instructor was so happy because he had already selected us that night.
Yeah.
So we went in and we were able to say, look, this is something everyone knows is an issue. And our district instructor, Doug Dobbs, another
shout out to Doug,
man in our district, and it was his last meeting as district instructor.
His last meeting, passing the torch
after 2 years, and he chose us to talk. That was special.
That was special. That meant a lot to me, man.
Because he's done a great job as the district instructor, and he worked hard to get his proficiency cards.
Another man who cares very deeply about the craft.
Yeah,
we're so blessed. I say this all the time, but we've got some men, and I'm sure there's other districts who have men of equal stature. I'm not saying that we're, above anybody. We're all Masons here in the state of Florida, but I'm just absolutely blown away by the dedication of these Masons who have been Masons, their entire life. The gentleman from Grand Lodge who spoke last night, the brother, his passion level for the craft and for what he's doing is absolutely off the chain, man. And he brought some base, masculine, in-your-face stuff, man. Like he quizzed us. He quizzed the room. And the room, I'm sorry, but the room didn't do great. I mean, there was a couple of guys that kind of knew it, but he brought a question from the EA perspective, and nobody could really answer it satisfactorily, and he just busted out on that and then just went into a couple of things, and I just thought, man, this guy is base, man. This guy is what we need. We need a guy with some cojones, some Masonic cojones to get out there and shake it up a little bit. And I maybe I'll get in trouble for saying that, but I don't know if I care, because we need that's what we need. And he just brought some facts, man. He's got the receipts on what he's talking about. He's super passionate, man. If you're going to ask him a question, you better be ready to stick around for the answer, man, because he's going to give all of it. He's just a straight up guy. We're hoping to interview him during Grand Lodge. He said he's going to be super busy. We may not be able to get him, but we're definitely gonna try to sit down and talk with him a little bit more about his vision for his position and for the lodge in the future. 5-year plan guy.
I like that.
Just like worshipful Chris Burns right here, a 5-year plan man.
I tried to push that. Before I was master, I was trying to push a 5-year plan so I could be a part of it.
Well, his point is taken very well, is that when you have a worshipful master and his administration, quote unquote, is in for 1 year, that it tends to...
They get everything set up right before they're done.
Right before they're done, and then it falls off, and nobody's really responsible for pushing whatever it was through.
No, because they got a new thing.
Right.
A new shiny thing.
Yeah.
And they look at that for a year, and then something else.
And then you have all these half-done, poorly done projects, in the wake of, past masters.
That's a problem at the lodge level too.
And let me just say, it's not necessarily a problem with people. It's a problem with process. The process is problematic, and this is what he's talking about. He wants to change the process to make it more conducive to keeping the vision. A man with a vision is a powerful thing, but if that vision has a time clock of 1 year on it and it's an actual 2.5 year vision, well, we're just spinning our wheels. And he's real big on that. And he was not afraid to bring up controversial topics. He brought up the home, the Masonic home in St. Petersburg, and that's a hot topic, baby. That's a smoking hot topic. And he was not afraid and non-apologetic for his position on it. And he brought a plan with a plan that I don't know. I've talked to two men who are in the know so far about the Masonic home issue. And he's the third one who kind of brought the same perspective. So I am formulating my opinion on it, and I'm not going to share that now, but maybe after Grand Lodge, we can maybe do a show and get some people in here and try to shed some light, if you will, on the issue, because it doesn't matter what side of the issue you're on, something must be done yesterday. To rectify, the coming situation that's happening, and everyone seems to be choosing sides, and what that does is it guarantees that nothing will ever get done until it's on fire and burning down and too late.
If you look at the legislation that Grand Lodge is trying to pass, and Right Worshipful Haskell, he's also running for the Grand Junior Warden here in the state of Florida.
Right.
He visited our Master Mason Association, and he had the same exact plan as Joe Fleety. So obviously, it doesn't matter who we pick. It's going in a direction. Grand Lodge has set their mind to going in a certain direction here in Florida, which seems to be we're going to sell our Masonic home and probably focus more on at-home care for our brothers.
Yeah, it's a supplemental program that takes away the brick and mortar. And again, I'm not pro or con on this issue, because I still don't feel like I know enough information about it yet. But I know that if you look up in the nation as a whole, brick and mortar is giving way to more supplemental types of situations, simply because brick and mortar anything is just ridiculously ungodly expensive to pull off on a day-to-day basis. And I can only imagine what elder care on any level would cost going forward. Healthcare costs are, as everybody knows, are just going right through the roof. I think the Shrine is the same way with the Shriners Hospital. They're getting rid of the brick and mortar hospitals, and they're trying to get into hospital wings,
right? And make them clinics
and make them clinics and
hospitals,
and get rid of the brick and mortar and do more to actually help the people.
Well, this is
you have to go forward. Yeah,
over time, and we're evolving.
Yep.
And we're doing it out of necessity, not out of foresight, which is frustrating to us on the ground, because we see the problems and we don't understand why our leadership doesn't see them until the house is already on fire.
Right.
But it is what it is.
And I would say that they are beginning to see it, because there's voices that are being raised that can't be ignored. And again, people wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't an actual issue. And as far as I can tell so far, there is an issue coming with regard to that home up there, and something must be done, or it will
the
amount of
implode.
Money
they'll be losing will.
Yeah, they're spending far more than they are bringing in, and it's only a matter of time before they end up. They're not the federal government; they can't print fake money and devalue, the future generations. They have to actually deal with a budget with hard currency that cannot be inflated to cover, their own desires, and that's all I'll say about our federal government at this point.
But hey, Fred.
Yeah?
We're going to talk. Keep listening, because we're going to talk more about the Master Mason degree. But before, I think we do.
Yes?
I just keep looking at something that's like calling out for attention here in our studio. Now, and I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this. Not publicly. We've been thinking about it, working on it behind the scenes. Yeah, there's video here, audio. the whole world's just hanging on our words, right?
All right, let's do it now.
Okay.
If we had the new system, which we're going to, this is the last time we're going to use our old makeshift system here for doing the. We bought a new board and a digital switch and a bunch of equipment to up our game for season 2. So this is the last time we're going to use this one. If we had the new system, I could hit a button right now and have a huge applause sound effect,
Nice.
which would be really great, where we could announce what's coming up.
Or drum roll.
Or a drum roll. Here's what's coming up, guys. Chris, John Schaefer, our executive producer, and myself have put together a small little LLC company that is dedicated to luxury premium items. Now, we started off with pursuing a bourbon.
Oh boy,
that we tried to do, and we did the research. That's a game that we're not able to enter into yet.
No,
we're going to work on it. But the game we were able to enter into was this.
As he reaches into his magical bag.
These are Three Ruffians premium cigars. We started our own cigar label, and it's called Three Ruffians. And is the website up?
Yes, it is Three Ruffians.
The
number 3 ruffians.com.
So go to the3ruffians.com and check out our logo, because our logo is awesome. And we worked really hard on it.
Wanted to get right.
What we have is we have 3 offerings with our premium cigar line, and these are Cuban seed, Nicaraguan grown, and locally rolled, imported right here in Florida by D. Lopez Cigars, and they are a cigar company that came out of Cuba, but they were there before the revolution. When they left with the revolution, they ended up, like so many premium cigar companies, they ended up taking their seed and reproducing it in Nicaragua, in different places all over the world. These are made in Nicaragua, grown in Nicaragua, and cured and everything in Nicaragua, and then shipped to here locally and rolled locally. These were rolled last week by some people, and we'll get more and more into the story of it. It's a pretty amazing story, and we're very fortunate to have D. Lopez Cigars as our vendor, because the history and heritage and pride that go into these cigars are absolutely off the chain. We are not worthy. This was absolute divine intervention, because as newbies in the cigar game, you don't get to this level as a startup. But we did. We were very fortunate to do so. So This is a premium cigar, and at Grand Lodge, we're going to offer all 3 of them. So we have the 3. We call them.
Ooh.
It's Three Ruffians.
Three Ruffians
is the cigar, but the
brand
3
itself is kind of genius. So
it is genius, Chris. You started.
I didn't want to,
You brought the idea to the table. So go. Let's hear it.
The concept of it is that there's already, most people want to go for the heroes, right? You want to be the Superman. You want to be the guy that saves the day. But when we were talking about cigars and we were talking about whiskey, I was like, this seems like more of a ruffian, kind of a bad guy situation where
it does.
We're giving in to the vices and the superfluities. And then, Fred actually was like, and what are we doing as Masons? We're trying to overcome that, But hey, until we do, people need good stuff.
People need premium cigars and eventually premium whiskey.
Yeah. So we came up with that. There are 3 of us, John Schaefer, Fred Packwood, and Chris Burns, and there's 3 Ruffians. So John actually came up with the concept for the logo, which everybody loved when he showed it to us, and that was it. We were off to the races, and we knew we had to get the logo right because it spoke to who we want, what we wanted this brand to kind of feel like to people. And so we worked real hard on getting that logo right, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Because it's really awesome. It's kind of badass.
It is
It
badass.
represents the Ruffians. And yeah, the ruffians were bad guys, but they were just like everyone else at one point in their lives.
And they were master masons.
Yeah, they were master masons. Well, yeah, they were master masons, and they were, everyone should get a second chance, and that's what masonry is all about, right? Trying to improve ourselves as men. So there's a ruffian inside of all of us, and Fred's got some great story to kind of elaborate on this Three Ruffians concept.
Yeah, we're writing
coming out.
Right, we're writing the backstory of the Three Ruffians and also the history of these cigars and how they came to us and how they were actually, they came. These are rolled for us. So
right.
The filler, the leaf, the filler, and the wrapper are all custom made for us. This is a premium cigar. So it's.
But that's not it. It's a Masonic brand is what we want to
Masonic
grow
brand.
it into.
Yep.
So
if you look closely, you can see the compass and square on there, and you can also see it's a really good. The logo is great. I love that logo. It just speaks to what we're trying to do. So and we have some backstory, which is going to be fun, and we're going to do a little bit of radio acting. We're going to do a little bit of writing and stuff to bring them to you. But
so you have 3 different kinds of cigars.
So we have JA.
Yep.
We have
which would be the lightest of the 3.
Which would be the lightest of the 3, the JA. Then we have the JO, which would be the medium grade. And I'm excited to enjoy that particular cigar because it's a long leaf Nicaraguan Cirillo. The binder is Nicaraguan Cirillo 98. If you know anything about cigars, you know that is a absolute premium feature. That particular blend for binder, that Cirillo 98, is an absolute premium feature. That is very rare, and it makes this cigar very unique. And it's the wrapper is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, so it's a Connecticut shade broadleaf wrapper. That cigar right there.
Torpedo? Is that what you call the shape
torpedo. Yeah, it's a 52 ring 6-inch cigar, so it's a standard torpedo type of cigar. But that cigar right there, I think, is going to be just an absolutely incredible smoke.
Well, we have smoked it. We can confirm they are.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely awesome. But I'm just excited. This batch that came out, I'm just really excited to give them a try, and we'll do that at Grand Lodge. So
with you.
Oh, and sorry, but our Habano on the end there is
the Big Daddy, the JU.
The JU is it that it's a
this one's gonna murder the taste in your mouth.
Absolutely, it's a traditional Churchill. It's a 48 ring, 6.5 inch, and it's also got that long leaf Nicaraguan Cirillo filler with the 98 Cirillo Nicaraguan binder, but the wrapper is a Cuban seed Habano, the 2000 Cuban seed Habano Nicaraguan, which if you know anything about cigars, you know that's going to have that pepper back flavor to it, that real deep, rich flavor to it. That's going to be a really good cigar. That's going to be my favorite cigar. I'm excited to try this one. I'm excited to try all of them. I'm excited to try this one. That one I have tried and absolutely enjoyed it. I compare that to the Joya de Monterrey, Santa Cruz. I know that's a big statement if you know anything about cigars, but I'm telling you right now, it is definitely comparable to that cigar. So if you're into cigars and you know your cigars, you're going to love that Churchill offering that we're doing. And then, of course, the box press. It's a smaller cigar. It's going to be kind of that after dinner cigar. It's going to be that sitting at the bar, one and done kind of cigar for yourself. It's also real good. It's real light. It's going to be a real light smoke, a lot of smoke. And I'm overdoing it. I know because I'm excited about this, but let me just say this as well with regard to this offering right here. A percentage of everything that we sell, because we're not doing this to make money necessarily. We're doing this to cover costs, but 5%, or we're not sure yet, somewhere between 5 and 10% of everything we sell under the Three Ruffians brand is going to go to the Shriners Hospital. So that's the idea. So
for now, and we plan to run specials for other Masonic
correct
charities.
I've been talking to the Shrine Motor Corps, which I'm a member of, and they're interested, somewhat interested. We haven't really talked about it yet, of doing a special release cigar, which we can totally do with a custom label ring on it for Motor Corps, Shrine Motor Corps, and then a percentage of those sales will also go to. And if you're out there and you're thinking, man, I'd like to try something like that for our fundraiser, just shoot us an email, because we can ship, we can produce. We spent a lot of time on this, guys. So we have a website set up, and we can ship literally nationwide any amount. So if you want to do a fundraiser with a custom cigar label on it that kind of touts your lodge, the shrine organization in your area, just shoot us an email and let us know. We can put that together for you, and everyone benefits from it. That's what it is. I think it's a great fundraiser. Look, nobody's surprised when I say that Masons know how to have a good time, and we do like premium whiskeys, premium cigars, premium everything. We like that. Have you ever heard of the Grotto? Yeah. So
the Shrine and the Grotto.
The Shrine and the Grotto, man. We know how to have a good time, and that's what Three Ruffians is all about. Okay.
Well, it's a brand. So if you go to the three-ruffians.com, you'll see T-shirts and coasters and shorts and shoes, and pretty much everything is going to be branded Three Ruffians right now. And we're planning to release general Masonic items in our online store there, too. That should be really cool as we progress. But we're just, starting small. Crawl, walk, run.
Yep.
We're going to crawl. But we will be bringing these to Grand Lodge with us at the booth. We will be having, I think there will be some Three Ruffians merch and cigars.
The cigars will be there. We're going to sell them as a 3-pack, as an introductory 3-pack. So all three will be in one package.
J-O and J-U.
And J-U in one package. And I think the price, we reduced the price for Grand Lodge. I think it's going to be $45, which, if you know anything about cigars, that one right there is a $25 cigar.
He's pointing at the Jubileum.
I'm pointing at the big boy, that big dark boy right there, which is going to be delicious. So if you know anything about cigars, you know that's a great price. Also, set yourself up for the Grand Lodge weekend with a cigar each day. If you want more than one, we'd be more than happy to sell them to you. We should have plenty for everybody. But anyway, I'm saying this as if you're hearing this prior to Grand Lodge. I just realized Grand Lodge is probably over when the time this thing comes out.
Just over.
So anyways, Chris, back to you.
Yeah. So we'll be out there Sunday. It doesn't matter. We'll be there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
We were there Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and it went really great.
You're hearing this Wednesday as the installations are happening for our new Grand Master and all our new district deputies and district instructors. Congratulations to everybody. Looking forward to working with as many of you as we can. I think now let's finish off this Master Mason talk, and let's get to some content here coming up about our first interviews. After this, next week, you're going to hear our first interviews with people on the show we've ever done.
Yeah.
We're going to start season 2 with people other than Fred and Chris you get to listen to. Finally.
Yep. We'll do some interviews. The format we think we're going to do is we'll probably interview, we're hoping the past Grandmaster and the upcoming Grandmaster have agreed to sit down and talk with us. Now, these are going to be some very busy men, so we may not get to sit with them. It's possible, but if we do, we'll do our best to get them. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk a little bit about the interview as part of the show. We'll pepper in there in the new season our esoteric discussions, which I think are super duper important, like we just talked about.
Yeah, never stop that.
We're never going to stop doing that because it's just absolutely awesome. So anyway, Grand Lodge, it was awesome. It's going to be awesome. We'll talk about it next time. So what do you say we get into a little bit of this?
Yeah, let's do this.
So I think that this has to absolutely be the last for now for our work on Master Mason in this series. So I thought we would end with the last two. Now the 5.28 is the raising of a candidate.
Oh,
it's
okay.
very long. It's half a page. So
Oh.
I think what we'll do is we'll just read a paragraph or two, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll read more instead of Fred trying without his glasses, which broke last night.
You want me to read that?
Trying to
Is it easier for
to
you?
read if you want.
Sure.
But I'm gonna have to read it afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I can't.
Today?
Go ahead. Let's try it. Let's try it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Chris, and Chris is Fred. Go.
The expression raised to the sublime degree. I'm sorry. That's
Don't
a
do
horrible
that.
impression. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everybody. Okay, rewind. The expression raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason is little understood outside of fraternity. It refers, of course, to a part of the ceremony of the degree itself. Symbolically, however, it presents a resurrection after death and Masonic faith in the immortality of the soul. Sorry, Brother Nagy, he doesn't like to talk about resurrection.
We both must have thought of that
I know.
immediately
As soon
at
as
the
I
same
saw
time.
it, I was like, "Ooh, he's not gonna like."
He has a
said
differing opinion.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's what we
He said,
yeah,
"There's no
but-
resurrection." In okay,
It's like, okay.
just the words there. That's all I'm saying. This degree is the sublime climax of symbolic Freemasonry. If the initiate finds in it only the lying, dying, and raising of a master as a literal drama, which is designed to teach the virtues of inflexible fidelity and fortitude, he has received only partial light and seen nothing but a drama with a moral. This sublime degree is far more than that, for it seeks to answer the old age question uttered by Job. If a man die, shall he live again? Past Grandmaster Carl Claudy aptly describes some of the great lessons of and purpose of the degree in his introduction to Freemasonry. The degree delves into the deepest recesses of man's nature. While it leads the initiate into the sanctum sanctorum of the temple, it probes into the holy of holies in his heart. As a whole, the degree is symbolic of that old age, by the wisdom of which we may enjoy the happy reflection consequent upon the life well spent, and die in the hope of a glorious immortality. It is at once the universal and yearning question of man throughout all ages, and its answer. It teaches no creed, no dogma, no religion, only that there is a hope of immortality. There is an architect by whose mercy we may live again, leaving to each brother his choice of interpretation by which he may read the great beyond. It teaches the power and the powerless of evil. For those who are happy in belief in the resurrection of the physical body, which Paul has taught, the degree assures of all that the longing heart can wish. When the lesson of the greatest hope and dearest wish of all mankind is made manifest, the sublime degree turns to this life and this brotherhood, and in the symbolism of the lion, the exposition of the 5 points of fellowship, the means of which by which a Mason may claim all that a man may from his brother and the world, ties together the heremic legend and daily living in a manner which no thoughtful man may see or hear without a thrill. A way at once awe-inspiring and heartening, terrible yet beautiful, sternly uncompromising yet strangely comforting. The ceremony is not of earthy, but of that land of the inner life, that home of the spirit where each man thinks the secret thoughts he tells never, never. Wow.
Dang.
That's beautiful.
That's really beautiful, man. So let's talk a little bit about resurrection. Let's start there. Go back. And like I said, I know I'm gonna have to read some of this again.
Certain people don't like the word resurrection, but it is used here, and it is reference to the physical raising of the body as well as the immortality of the soul, which are two different things, obviously.
So, without giving away any secrets, why resurrection? Why? How does it? So I see that one dies, and I'm thinking about the actual ritual, which we cannot talk about. But every Mason listening knows what I'm talking about. At the ritual, one dies, but a new one raises up. I'm trying to be very evasive here.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Is that not resurrection?
It is.
It is. It is.
It is absolutely.
And the one the new one is to carry on instead of the old one. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that?
No.
So in other words, this is impossible.
You got to go bigger.
You got to go bigger. Go bigger.
Right. So the concept is that good and truth are destroyed by evil.
Good
right?
and truth.
This is a moral lesson that we're teaching.
By evil, correct?
Yeah, but not really. You can only stop it for a little while because evil isn't capable of sustaining itself, and good will always prevail. But we have to be vigilant against evil, or it will over and over again kill the good. And so what this, in the broadest terms, what this degree, I think, is what it's saying here, is that, you have to try to live a virtuous life. You have to try to work against evil and be a soldier for good. And if you can struggle with that and do that and not succeed your whole life, but try your hardest, you will be rewarded with the divine truth, the real secret word of a Master Mason, as we talked about in our last podcast. And you will receive the greatest gift that any soul could hope to receive, which is glorious eternal life in a place of just goodness and love and kindness for all eternity. And that is what we're all striving for, is to find that ultimate truth of how do we achieve that. And how do we use it to fight against the evil?
Yeah, man, this is worthy. We're definitely coming back to this one, guys, because this is really deep and it's huge. It's probably one of the longest one of the longest sections in the entire Mentor's Manual, and for good reason. I just without you, I think every Master Mason listening knows what I'm trying to do here. But see, there was a symbolically, right? Hiram Abiff is the man we're talking about here, right? But then all of a sudden, it's me. All of a sudden, it goes from a story about that man and what happened to him to me being pulled up and now being. Am I now to carry on? Is that what we take from that? Did I do a good job of that without blowing it? I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did.
You
fine.
Get it? You get what I'm saying though? And you guys who are listening, who are shouting at the radio right now, just send emails and kind of help us with that.
So much more eloquently and simply than we are.
Yeah, well, I refuse to give away any of the secrets that I'm obligated to keep. So, and I'm working very hard to do that.
Good man.
Right. That's
hard,
that's what we do. It's tough
to talk about this stuff, and we honestly want to be real careful. People think we're real frivolous and just say whatever. We're really careful,
right,
to try to avoid revealing any of the secrets. We want to keep our obligation.
But I'm hoping that this might cause those who are listening to get amongst a bunch of Master Masons together in private and actually openly discuss.
Yeah.
This situation. That was what was great about last night.
Yeah.
We had an open discussion.
And it became real personal. People started to
very
say,
personal.
We're talking about the ruffians. And
right.
The two ways you can perceive it. And one of the symbolisms of the ruffians is the bad parts of ourselves that we're always fighting. And people were talking about their life experience and how they were ruffians.
Right.
100% ruffian, and how they've changed over time, and how different it is to live life. That, and you even had our district deputy who was roasted beautifully last night.
Beautifully roasted
at the Master Mason Associate. No,
Right
I'm
Worshipful.
kidding. It wasn't beautiful. It was probably a hot mess, but we did our best.
It was cringy and
it was
went
super
on
cringy.
too long, and that's what made it so cool.
Yeah, exactly. We overdid it like everything. But you know what? We did something, which is more than some. So you win some, you lose some. But
that's right. It was awesome.
It was
I know Right Worshipful District Deputy
He
Grandmaster
understood that. We
Haber
love him.
absolutely appreciated it, because that's just the kind of guy he is.
But he made a comment when we were talking about that. I hope you brothers remember this because you're different now, yes, but don't judge them because you were them.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
Don't
a great
judge
point.
those guys.
Really good point. When you're looking at the 30-year-old Mason coming in who seems clueless, who seems unable to do any of the real work, don't make a judgment call on him because that's probably the way you were when you were that age. I know when I was 35, I was a hot mess, baby. And I regret, looking back, I wish I would have known about Masonry in my early 30s. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who can say that, who came into the craft late. It would have made a huge difference in my life. So when we see these young men, and I think that was his point, when we see these young men who are very rough ashlars, very, very, very rough ashlars, as you were and I was at that age, come alongside them and lift them up and encourage them and help them because they could be that next Masonic leader, who could help the craft really take it to the next level.
And you know exactly what they need if you were in their situation.
Absolutely.
So you can be the thing for them that you didn't have for yourself. Make their life better through your experience. And this is what Masonry is 100% about. When we say we make good men better, this is it. We're talking about, hey, this degree is all about we are going to expire and your time is limited and you better do the best you can with the time you have for as many people as you can because that's the highest calling we have as people, is to help each other. And using all of the negative and the bad in your life for good for somebody else's that's the meaning and that's why you're here. I think that's why we're all here. So you want to hit the next section of that?
Are you sure?
Or are you ready to continue this conversation?
No, we have to come back to the raising of the candidate. We'll come back to that one. And we'll spend a whole show on it because this is a good one. However, the next one is the all-seeing eye, which is, and I'll read it if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll read it and we'll comment on it. I have some notes here. I obviously I've studied this already because my notes are all over it. But anyway, so the all-seeing eye. This is a very old symbol of deity. In the religion of Egypt, the god Osiris. Thank you. Osiris was represented by an open eye, and this symbol was placed in all his temples. Undoubtedly, the Hebrew people inherited many of their religious customs and symbols. There's a bug right there.
I saw him earlier.
Inherited many of their religious customs and symbols from the Egyptians. Reference to this particular symbol may be found in the Old Testament, where in Psalm 34 these words are to be found. The eye of Jehovah are upon the righteous. Or in Psalm 121, he that keepeth Israel shall never sleep nor slumber. Thus the idea that Jehovah watched over man was symbolized by the all-seeing eye as a manifestation of his omnipresence and omniscience. Wow. To the Freemason, this symbol becomes a reminder that the things which we do before the eyes of men and those which we do in secret are beheld by the eye which can explore our innermost thoughts and will witness against us in that tribunal where there are no miscarriages of justice. This is huge.
Yeah.
And tribunal, what's that?
Also, it's interesting that this is the first symbol they're pointing out in the Master Mason degree. And this is a symbol that you will find on all American currency.
All American currency. And I've literally
Noticed I pointed that out last night in another issue that you're like, wow, this is obviously related directly to what we're talking about, our First Amendment rights.
Right, First Amendment rights. Where'd that come from?
And how JA represents that.
Yeah, right. The taking away of that.
Yeah. Free speech.
That's right. Taking away of free speech. Again.
The first symbol we're talking about is the most prominent symbol on our currency.
It's so interesting to me being but being in the church for the last 30 years or so, Christian church that is. The fact that the all-seeing eye on the top of the rising pyramid is on our money was always this weird kind of I don't know how to explain it, but that's that Masonry stuff. The United States was evil because of Masonry, this, Masonry, that. It's like, but I never understood it. Because to me, if you look at the back of a dollar bill and you look at it, it doesn't look evil.
Well, what do you see? You see an unfinished pyramid, and atop it is the all-seeing eye.
Right.
And now you understand it as a Mason, right?
Yeah,
the
now I
unfinished
get
pyramid is an unfinished building. You're never going to complete it in this life.
Right. Yeah. The work is ongoing.
Yep.
And it is overseen by God Himself.
It's on our currency.
It.
So the fact is, America is an unfinished pyramid. We will never be complete. We're always seeking to improve ourselves and continue to build. And above all of it, watches us the all-seeing eye, which sees into our hearts, not what we say.
Yeah, and there's a famous Latin phrase on there, and I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm desperately thinking of, do I have a dollar bill near
E
me?
pluribus unum.
No, well, yes, it says that, but there's another one. Or do something out of the one, many out of the one. Anyway.
Yeah, Masonic principles for sure.
To the Freemason, this symbol becomes a reminder that the things which we do before the eyes of men and those which we do in secret are beheld by the eye, which can explore our innermost thoughts and will witness against us in the tribunal where there is no miscarriage of justice. So Masonry teaches that our actions here on earth do matter.
Yes.
When we pass on to that celestial lodge, forward, and to mind your behaviors before God. I think if any man who cries out with a pure heart to God, because since there is a God, whoever He is, some of us claim to have found knowledge in that area. Some of us claim to still be searching in that area. But if He is who He says He is, and if you cry out to a pure heart to know more, to walk in those ways, will this being not reach out to you in the way that He has prescribed? I say yes. Yeah.
And what this symbol, I think it's saying here, is that we're all going to be judged. No one has ever not been judged that's ever been born.
Right.
It's going to be. We're all going to have a judgment at some point, and you're going to be judged based off of what the all-seeing eye saw, not based on what men and women saw. So that's what integrity is, right? They tell you it's what you do when you think no one is looking. That's integrity.
Doing the right thing when no one's there to see it. Right.
And so Masonry is saying, just imagine that this all-seeing eye is watching you all the time. It knows what you're thinking, and it's recording, and that at the day of your tribunal, they say, or judgment, your entire life will play out, and you'll be judged based on your thoughts and your actions.
Right. Lots of legal terminology, or it has a real legal feel to it. The tribunal. And judgment, and it has a real courtroom feel to it, which purports really well to the faith that I hold to, as far as a forensic type of understanding of justice and punishment and mercy. Too, with justice without mercy is an abomination to God. That's what, the scriptures that we placed our hand on, it says that all over the place.
Yeah, you're not going to get, but it's not like it's saying, don't think of this as a law room like we have. You're not going to get to argue your case. No one's going to represent you.
Well,
and try
now
to
that's
speak on your behalf.
That's
this
a great
judgment that you're going to receive directly.
That's a great point. Now this is the part where you bring your faith into Masonry, right? So you come to Masonry. It's not a religion. We bring our faith, our whatever it is, our spirituality, our religion, into it. For me, being a Christian, I bring it in. I bring into it, and
You're a what?
I am.
What?
I'm a Christian man.
How did I not know this about you?
You did know that. I am.
Oh, you're right. I did.
If you want to know, I'm actually a Calvinist. Go look it up and send all your cards and letters to Chris. I don't want to hear it.
Send them to me. I'll read them and be like, "What the heck is he talking about?"
But there is, in the courtroom scene, I do have an attorney. I do have one to represent me before this to lay out, a case that I can't win, And anyways, that's as far as I'll go with it. But whoever you are out there listening to this,
but do you though?
I do.
Okay, as a Christian, let's talk about it since
Fine.
you brought it up.
Hit me.
As a Christian, and Jesus is the person that is going to be, and you're intermediary to God, is what you're saying. In this kind of mock trial we're talking about, symbolically here.
Okay.
So wouldn't you have the same kind of relationship with Jesus that this story is saying, using the word God, but, you're being watched and judged? Jesus is watching you and judging you kind of in the same way, isn't he, in your faith?
Well, what he said was that in John chapter 7, he says, I judge no man. So he came here to lay down his life for the lost, okay? He came to redeem and collect up the lost. So when he was here, he made no judgment. However, now that he has ascended, all judgment has been put into his hand. Christianity, let's not.
So there you go. You have a judge. You still have a judge.
God is our judge, and God is also our advocate. Why? Because of the triune doctrine of the Trinity. Now, we're not going there today, because that one's a real hot button.
That's a whole show, huh?
And when
that's
Christians,
not a quick conversation.
When Christians irresponsibly blurt out Jesus is God, what they're talking about is the doctrine of the Trinity and the doctrine of substitutionary atonement, all in one little irresponsibly blurted out phrase that no one really understands. It requires lots of teaching and time spent with somebody who knows it to explain it clearly. So I don't ever throw out theological terminology like that, because first thing, it's a whole new language that you have to learn and understand. Christianity is not easy to understand.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything that is worth your time should be easy to understand. You should have to dig into it. That's why I tell people, know what you believe and know why you believe it, because it's worth it. Your eternal destiny matters.
Well,
and you need to be fully convinced about what it is you believe. I am fully convinced about what I believe. I am more than willing to discuss it with anybody at any time, as long as it's done with gentleness and respect.
I love it, because I disagree with you.
Right? Yep,
I
absolutely.
am not 100% sure, and I don't know if I ever want to be 100% sure. Because,
which is, I totally respect that.
You know what I'm saying? We're kind of talking about that. It has come up a couple times here.
Yeah.
We talk about, you want to, and I said it last night, you want to be open to new information and be able to progress, basically.
Absolutely.
Because as we get older, we experience more. So we get more information, and we do change our behaviors. You're not the same guy you were in your 30s.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God, because you've experienced things, and
God
you've
for
changed. You've made changes in your life.
Right.
And it's happened to me too. And so many times when I thought for sure that I knew something and then I was proven wrong, my worldview had to change, and that is painful, man. Every time I thought I freaking knew something,
right,
and the carpet gets pulled out from underneath me,
it's
I'm
painful.
Damn it.
It's healthy.
Damn it.
But it's painful.
So I don't want to be in that place anymore where I'm just so convinced. I have a strong affiliations to ideas, for sure. Things that I feel very confident about, but they're just things that, and my wife hates this too. We talk about it all the time. She's like, I'm not afraid to die, but I'm afraid not to know all this awesome stuff that I'm never going to know, And as I get older, I keep finding things out, and I'm like, damn, I wish I knew that when I was young. And that's kind of where I'm at. I accept that I can't really understand this stuff, and that if I have to delve into 18 years of education for, as you say, fully understand it, then
30 years.
30 years, yeah. I'm willing to take that journey for sure, because I do want more understanding, but I don't believe that, for me, that I ever want to find myself in a place where I'm saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, I'm right, because I know for sure.
Right. I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
Here, let me give you an example. I used to be what's known as a literal 6-day creationist. So this is a person who believes that...
Never heard of that.
A 6-day creationist is a person that believes the first 2 chapters of Genesis are talking about literal 24-hour days in succession. So on day 1, he did this, day 2, all the way up to day 6, and then on day 7, he rested, and voila. the universe, the earth, everything was up and running. Okay.
Did they really? Still to this day?
To this day, there are literal 6 day creationists.
Did they you've done more?
Well, let me finish my story here first, and then we'll talk. So what? It never sat well with me, because if you read it in the original language and you do the word studies on it, there's so many options as far as interpretation goes. The first thing, the book of Genesis as a whole was not given for us to know how old the universe is. Okay, that's not what it's for. Okay, it's for it clearly shows God's interaction with mankind and the remedies that he has given for our predicament. Okay, so but here's what happened. I never felt good about it. A 6 day literal creation. I was reading a story about a supernova, SN 1984. SN 1984 is a supernova that we've been tracking for many years. Mathematically speaking, okay, now this is empirical proof on a mathematical basis. It's 275,000 years old. Okay, the light signatures that our eyes are seeing are a minimum of 275,000 years old. How do you get there? That those light signatures are extremely old. Those are 275,000 years old. We're also starting to see credible evidence with carbon dating. It was not a credible science for the longest time, but we're starting to see that the Earth is clearly more than 4,000 or 5,000 years old. Okay, guys, it just is. If we're seeing light signatures that can be mathematically proven to be 275,000 years old, the Earth has got to be at least that old. So for me, I opened up my mind at that point to the possibility that, the church was kind of putting out this 6 day literal creation thing, but it really wasn't based on the scriptures. It was based on people's opinion of it. As I dug into it more and more, I changed my mind. I learned something new about my faith, and that's it's like everything else. There's a core foundational belief in my faith that I hold to, but then there's all these peripheral issues. Don't even get me started on end of time stuff. I mean, that's just the wackiest, most embarrassing junk out there in the Christian faith that I've ever heard of. But I studied it. I saw that it was not correct, and I made adjustments based on what I know to be true. And it comes down to what I always say: what is the most plausible idea? Because there are no guarantees. There's no absolutely sure. That's why we call it faith. Nothing is absolutely, positively, 100% foolproof. Right? Sure.
It's a choice. You choose, I'm going to accept this.
What is more plausible? A 6 day literal creation that puts the Earth at about 6,000 years old, or an actual imperial mathematical fact of light signatures hitting the Earth that are 275,000 years old? What is more plausible? Well, in my opinion, the latter is far more plausible than the former. And I made a decision based on that. The reason why I keep talking the way I talk on this podcast and in Masonic circles is because I want every Mason to do exactly that. Whatever it is you're into, whatever it is that you're pursuing on a spiritual level, know it. Know it. What is the most plausible explanation for what it is that you're trying to believe or understand?
Mm-hmm. Well, when you talk about religion with plausible explanations, it gets super fuzzy.
Well, I don't know,
because it's all. I think all the faiths are really what it really is teaching morality to the people. And I think that's the purpose of any kind of organized religion, is to bring a certain standard and morality to the people.
It's what it evolved into, correct?
Yeah.
But what is it at its core? What is
it's giving you a path to salvation. All faiths pretty much
prior to the schism in 1040, which is where we ended up with the Roman Catholic Church on the west and the Eastern Orthodox Church on the east. Okay, prior to that, there was one church. what was the foundational beliefs of that church. Forget all the other stuff.
Prior to what?
The big giant hats and the robes and the incense.
Talking about the Jewish people?
No. This was the Christian faith coming out of Palestine,
Christians.
coming out of ancient Palestine up to 1040, which was known as the Great Schism, which is where the West and the East split. And out of that today,
the Protestants? Is that what you're talking
no,
about?
that's 500 years ago. So try to stay with me, brother. Please.
I'm trying hard. I'm not as.
This is a great example, though.
Okay.
See how confusing it is?
Yeah, it's
very
really
confusing. But the basics.
I'm actively listening, trying to understand you.
And this is because of man getting involved in a space where he really shouldn't try to be so technically involved. The basics of the faith have always been the same, and they remain the same today. And a 6-year-old can understand. As a matter of fact, all 3 of my children, I brought them to a place where they clearly understood it before they were in high school. And all of them made professions of faith at a very young age, not because I forced it on them, not because I perfectly modeled it, Lord knows, but because I explained it to them in a way that they could understand, and I let them go. And they came back years later and said, "Yeah, okay, Dad, I'm willing to walk down this road with you," and it's the most plausible idea in its basic form. As far as all the other stuff goes, I don't know how we got off on this. We're like 20 minutes into this thing.
Yeah.
As far as all the other stuff goes, it's man trying to figure out stuff that maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't, but nobody should be super dogmatic about any of these peripheral issues. Anybody who's dogmatic about the age of the earth from a spiritual standpoint, remove yourself from them immediately, because they're preaching something that they don't need to be preaching. There's no reason for it. It's not the foundation. Yeah. That's the roof shingle. You know?
Right. It's the dressings, not the meat and potatoes.
What I'm saying to every man listening to this podcast is what I always say, and I'm going to say it. They're going to put it on my gravestone. For goodness sakes, brother, take the time to learn what it is you believe. If you're saying to yourself, "I don't know what I believe," that's awesome. That's an awesome place to start. Okay, begin there. What do you believe? And take a step forward and verify as best you can to what is most plausible going forward.
I'll go a step further than Fred. Take the time to understand what other people believe.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what you believe. It's hard to take the time to understand what other people believe. You don't have to believe it. I saw a Facebook post, I love these little things that people put, and it said basically that. I absolutely respect your right to your belief. That doesn't mean I have to respect what you believe in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But, it's good to know. It's good to know why they believe what they believe. You might understand more of them.
I just think it's essential in human interaction and human growth. How can I say I have a close relationship with you and not know what it is that you believe?
The core beliefs,
and
right?
what your core beliefs
that
are.
I'm living my life by.
Right. I mean, and this happens all the time. People have they think they have these deep, close relationships, but when it comes to matters of their spiritual belief systems or their faith, it's like hands off. It's that dumb old bartender's rule: never talk about religion or politics. Well, then what are you going to talk about? The weather? I mean, come on, man. Those are the two most engaging, passionate things you could talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's off limits. So you need to talk about the latest Netflix thing, or you need to talk about,
You know why they do it. They say that because people struggle. I mean, and it came up last night in our conversation. Brother Tishman said, people tend to be around people that are like them.
Right.
And we use the term "I like you," and he was saying that kind of means I'm like you. And that was
a great point, wasn't it?
I feel like you're not like me. I don't want to be around you anymore.
Right.
That's anti-Masonry right there.
Absolutely.
Baby. It's like, hey, you're not like me. Tell me more. I'm really curious now. That's what a Mason says.
Yeah, I so agree with that concept, because it's one of the things that brought me into Masonry.
You really like somebody. Oh, we're not different? I still love you.
Right.
Come here.
That's
now
right.
Tell me why you're different. I want to know what's going on here. Are we really that different? And the more you talk, the more you're going to find out you're not.
Well, no, as far as the human experience goes, we're all looking for the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We want to be accepted and loved for who we are.
Yes.
We want to have a safe environment. We want to be able to provide and protect and care for the ones we love. We want to be in a community that's, those are the hierarchy of human needs, man. That's all the same.
It's complicated. A person isn't his career. I don't want to be known as the digital marketing guy. I'm way more than that.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely.
I'm not that. And
although that's a pretty cool job.
Well, thanks. But
Most
you
of
have
the
a
time.
cool job. You build things.
I hate my job.
But you don't want to be known as the guy that builds things, right?
I don't want to be the guy
you're more than that.
that builds.
You're more than the Christian, he's the Calvinist guy who is that. Like, you're more than that. You have a family. You have passions. You have things. You have experiences that make up who you are. And if I shut off because one of those things isn't the same as my story, then we're never going to have true close relationships with people.
Can you say, well, who am I? Do you have a statement?
When people do,
I
they
do.
always talk
I have a
those
statement.
things. This is what I do for a living. This is my religion. Like, that's not who you are. I didn't ask that.
That is not who you are, right? And I have formulated, my response to that.
Oh, really?
I have, and
Oh,
I hesitate. I hesitate
get
to
it?
share it. No, it's a very common it's a very common one in Calvinistic circles.
I want to hear it.
I am an adopted son of Abraham in Christ.
Okay.
I am an adopted son
so
of
you
Abraham
go with
in
your
Christ.
religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who I am. That's
Okay.
who I am at my core.
All
and,
right.
and something that that Brother Judd, Worshipful Judd, said last night, and this is off topic. Well, this is a rabbit hole, but
it's all off topic.
We are so off the range. He said, remember, guys, it's God, family,
yes.
work, and Masonry.
Yeah.
And I was just taken back by that.
Yeah.
That is such a great outlook.
Yeah.
Where you put it, how you put it. We're hoping to interview that brother more than once. I would be a fan of having him on once a month to give us a report on where he's at with his role as our district instructor.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great 10-minute segment every month to just get an update on what he's doing, how it's going, where he needs us to be. I think we need to do that. We'll talk to him at Grand Lodge about putting that together. But anyways, as a priority, as priorities in your life, God, family, work, Masonry.
Yeah. That's right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense because Masonry being the last on that list is because it's foundational in keeping those other three in line.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. And that you don't ever want to, and I've seen brothers like put all their attention at the bottom, and they forgot about their wife and they forgot about their job, and I'm pretty sure based on what I saw, they forgot about their commitments to their creator. But they were 100% into Masonry, and they did amazingly well in Freemasonry. And I kept looking around telling people, I don't think this is a good example of how we're supposed to be. I don't think we should be lifting this individual up because he's hurting himself so visibly. Right. And he's no longer around. I mean, he's burned himself out. And and it's because the proper attention wasn't, like Worshipful Judd said, you got to focus on what's most important. And Masonry is important. It should be a part of our lives. And it should inform all of the others, but not to their detriment.
Right.
You can only do as much as you can do in Masonry. If you got to focus on the balance of your life.
But I'm taking what he said, that prioritized list, and I wrote it down in my journal. I'll be digging deeper into that because I'm going to implement that into my life. I'm going to make sure that my work, my responsibility to my church is going to my responsibility before the Lord, before God, is going to become the priority because through that it is that's my ability in my mind and in my body to take care of my family, to take care of my work, and to be a good Mason within the lodge. And I just love it. I'm going to develop that more and more. We're going to hear more about that.
Go back to your apprentice degree and the first working tool you were presented.
That's right. Yeah. 24-inch gauge, man.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Service of God and a trustworthy brother. your work and your family, and refreshment and sleep. That's Masonry.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what Brother Judd was referring to. I'm sure that's where he formulated that from. But we'll get him on and we'll talk more about that with him, because I just think that brother's he's just this walking encyclopedia of Masonic goodness that we need to tap into and get him to start talking. He's one of those, I feel like, sorry, Worshipful Judd, if we're gushing about you, but I just feel like once we want to tap into where he's at, right, and get it out there for everyone to hear, and I just think he's got a lot to say.
Masonry,
I think he's got a lot to say, man. He knows his stuff, man.
Yeah, and he was saying last night, I was a major ruffian. I mean, he's covered in tattoos, gauges in his ears.
Yeah, man.
He looks like a scary guy, but nicest, sweetest person, truly, genuinely Masonic guy.
A genuine guy. And another one of our, what I call, our Masonic statesmen.
Comes out of Venice Lodge.
Out of
Strong
Venice
Lodge in District 23.
Past master last year. The very first entered apprentice degree that I witnessed, apart from my own, was down there while he was worshipful master. I thought to myself, man, these guys know what they're doing.
Well, he's got his gold card and he lectures, and I've seen him lecture, and he's on the same path I am, where we're just trying to deliver emotions and not words, which is another thing that
I love that.
Right Worshipful Fleetus was saying. Just saying words isn't doing anybody any good.
Right.
It's the meaning behind it and the emotion behind it that we should be trying to convey.
He was preaching our sermon, man.
Right?
Big time, yeah. That was a great moment. I felt like jumping up, And,
me too, man.
Right? I was just like, yeah, bro.
Yes. I understand he's running for a political appointment. And
but you can't fake that. You can't fake that passion. That is him.
Right.
That's what he's about.
There was a definitely unmistakable passion coming out of him.
Yeah.
And the words and the energy, the way he was talking.
Right.
Didn't feel as professionally put together, more of like I got to get this off my chest situation than it was I'm going to craft this.
His rhetorical skills are tied to his heart and his passion.
Yeah.
And for some people that's just very natural. It just comes right out, and that's basically what you're seeing there. And I probably don't agree with everything the man is trying to do, but I don't have to. And he doesn't need me to. So this is the beauty of it. But those core things that he did speak about, I am in favor of. I have to be honest. But let's not go back down that trail. What do we how are we going to close out, man? Because we're done.
We
with
did
the
it?
Master Mason. Yes, and it was only 10 shows?
Wow.
9? 9 shows.
Over 9 hours.
That's a long time. I enjoyed every minute of it, I got to say.
Me too.
I've learned so much along this journey right here, and I'm definitely looking forward to learning so much more and really getting more of you guys out there to reach out to the show and to give us more content based on what you see, what you hear in your life.
Well,
what is it you want us to do? Where do we go with this? I'd like to hear from people, along those kind of lines.
For sure.
A lot more.
Yeah, you can impact it directly. We're here. Yeah,
that's right. Yep.
We're here for you. We are with you. We are you. So
that's right.
And like you said, this is a divine providence. It feels like this is supposed to be happening.
Yeah, it came together in that way.
We're just gonna continue doing the only thing we know to do, which is talk about Freemasonry. And the ironic thing is, when you said, hey, here's the platform we're going to use to podcast, read up on this stuff. I did read up on it. They have a huge blog network, and you read all these articles. And they warn you that you are going to burn out. Like, you're going to plateau.
Right,
This is common. It happens to everybody that starts podcasts. It ain't happening.
It ain't happening, man. No.
Because I feel like I could record all day, every day.
Right.
And still feel like I have so much more to cover and talk about and think about and say.
Yeah.
Because the more we talk about it, the deeper we go, the more is revealed to us.
Right.
And the more content you find when you dig into this stuff on deeper levels. So we can cover this like an onion. We could spend years talking about one layer and then peel it back and just talk about the same things over again on a deeper layer.
Absolutely.
And just keep doing that over and over again. I mean, Masonry is an unending well of philosophical discussion that covers the breadth of human experience through all time. We're never going to run out of content, man. That's
right.
not an issue
right.
for us.
And it's in line, because last night one of the other things the brother said was that the recidivism rate in Masonry is not great, and the reason the exit interview, the number one reason is it's not what I thought it was going to be. And the reason why they say that is because we're not teaching the core of what Masonry is, and he was very passionate about that. Yeah. So that's what the young man coming into Masonry is looking for. He's looking for that thing that's greater than he is. He's looking for that higher level. And Masonry is rich in that. And it's indispensable, I believe, in a young man's life. This is training for life. And a young man coming into it, if he's given the actual truths, not the administrative truths, not the business meeting truths, not any of that stuff, but the actual esoteric meaning of what's in here, it is indispensable in helping a young man discover who he is and where he's going. And we have a lot of young men out there who don't know who they are, and they don't know where they're going. Therefore, they don't know what to do. And I think Masonry has an answer for them.
It does. It has an answer. It answers every argument.
But do we know the answers? Because do we know the question? And do we know the answers as Masons? I am going to spend my time learning that and being able to accurately articulate it to that younger generation to bring them up. Because if somebody, when I was 35, if somebody had a really good explanation and reason for me to join Masonry, I might have. And if I did, I believe my life would have been very, very different. Much more successful. Yeah. Much more peaceful and happy.
Some of the original people that I really looked up to were older men. I'm talking in their 80s, who had been in Masonry since they were in their 30s. And when I asked them their only regret, they said, literally, this guy said to me, the only regret I have is that I didn't find this sooner. Yeah. I wish I had found it
That's
sooner.
me.
And I could have spent more time in it.
I was 59 years old when I came to Masonry. I wish I was 39 when I did, or even 29. It would have made all the difference. It could have made all the difference in the world, and I can't go back in time, but I can be a part of maybe. We're never going back in time, just letting you know that.
Never say never.
All right, Chris is going back in time.
I'm going, baby.
He's going to invest in Apple stock.
Yes.
And then he's going to come back, and we're going to quit our jobs and do this full time.
Yes.
Yes. Nice. Yes. Get on that, brother.
Okay. String theory. Here I come.
All right. So anyway, I think we've beaten this one to death. This was a great episode. Well, I really enjoyed this. This
me
was good.
Too.
Yeah.
And I think what you were just talking about there at the end is what we are always going to come back to, which is we need to give people some reason to be here.
Yeah.
We're not here to give them answers to anything. And that is, I think, a reason that people don't engage or speak up, because they don't feel like I have the answer. So who am I to tell these people anything?
That's a great point.
But brother, you're not here to give them the answers. You're here to give them the tools to find the answers for themselves. And you can do that. You can do that for them.
That's right. Yeah, there's a pathway. And we can show you the pathway, but you got to walk it.
Yep.
You got to walk that thing, man. But we'll walk it with you. Because all of us are on this same journey. I don't care what your faith tradition is. We're all still here together, and we are, in fact, because of humanity, we are in fact required to help and love and care for each other. I am my brother's keeper. I don't care what faith you're from. I don't care where you're from. You are your brother's keeper. Masonry has a very, very foundational system for realizing that in your own life.
Let's end on that positive note.
You got it, man. All right, my brothers.
Thank you.
We will see you all at Grand Lodge. And when we get back, it'll be season 2. We've got a big tech curve to get over. And that journey begins as soon as we stop this show. It's Friday. So Friday. So I am going to begin to prepare for a whole lot of tech stuff that we're going to be doing at Grand Lodge. And on the other side of it, we'll do another podcast, our first one of season 2. And I am so looking forward to it. Good, bad, ugly. It's coming. It's on, and we're going to do it. And we'll just give you guys a report on the other side of it. Chris, we're out.
Looking forward to it. See you soon.
See you, man.